Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be specifically about hay and why we feed it. So contrary to popular belief in the meat rabbit community, hay we find is required. But again, there are so many rabbitries out there who do things so differently than what we do. So we encourage you to continue doing research. But this video is going to go through why we feed it, why we think it's important to our rabbit's health, and what we have seen just in the husbandry. So a lot of feed is advertised as a complete feed. If you were to look at the ingredients, you could see very plainly that there is hay in it, but it is extruded. It's sort of chopped down. It may provide the nutrition that rabbits need, but it doesn't provide the roughage. When we're talking about roughage, roughage specifically is what keeps the hindgut going, and roughage is fiber. Fiber is roughage. So think of those guys as the same. Hay provides fiber, which I found is lacking in a lot of commercial feeds. I've seen much better results in body condition with hay added to a complete feed. Specifically, when we're talking about that, I have a couple of old does, and I do still breed them because they do well. And as long as I feed hay with their complete pellet diet, they're fine. They bounce right back. I'm not losing any weight. The body condition is not too bad. We will keep an eye on Rosie because occasionally she will lose a little bit of condition. But everybody else who is a year, 2 years, 3 years here, they're fine as long as I feed hay along with their regular diet. Hay is also great for enrichment, so why wouldn't you feed it? It does help wear down teeth. It helps prevent boredom and the chewing of hutches, bowls, toys, all of that stuff. It satisfies a need to chew, and that's incredibly important for rabbits. As an aside, maple branches can also help with the need to chew. In the wintertime, I use those Rubbermaid bowls. So they're rubber feed pans from like Tractor Supply or other feed stores. And I use them in the wintertime, and when I don't feed hay, I found that the bowl life itself is cut in half because everybody is chewing them. So they have nothing else to chew. They're gonna chew their toys, they're gonna chew their bowl. And some rabbits can even start chewing the bars of their cage, and that's not great for their teeth. That becomes a problem for them. So keeping things that they can chew, like hay, maple branches, all that good stuff, roughage, is incredibly important. There is a difference in hay type. The main thing to remember is that flat leaf blades tend to provide more protein. They're way more rich than like a tube-like or straw-like blade. Those are going to be the roughage blades. Typically, people feed high-quality Timothy or orchard grass hay. This is usually a flat leaf blade variety, and I find that it's actually too rich for production rabbits. It adds way more protein to their diet, which they already are getting from their pellet. And when I first fed that flat leaf type of hay, I saw a huge difference in weight gain. All of my animals started gaining weight really easily. I had to either pull their feed back or pull their hay back. And I would rather not do either. I would rather them have access to pellet all day and hay all day. I'm not really looking to keep my bucks and does overweight, which can happen with the Timothy and the orchard grass. I'm specifically looking for fiber content. I feed a general mix of field hay. There are some flat blades in it and there are some tube blades. Usually first crop horse hay. I avoid the second cut because it still tends to be a little bit too rich for my guys. I also don't free feed it, which is contrary to popular husbandry practices. Everyone gets a handful of hay a day, and it usually lasts all day when I put it in the hay feeders. I want that hindgut engaging all day. I want that gut to be moving. I want everything to be doing its job. But I don't want to cause weight gain, especially in the Rex who are known for having delicate hocks. Even with the prioritizing of hock placement, hock size, and thickness of the fur on the hocks in the Rex, we still occasionally come up with a little bit of fur loss on the hock, and that directly has to do with our does. There's fluctuations in their weight. So anytime that you have a Rex that's overweight, even if it has excellent hock placement, really nice thick fur, nice thick feet, it can still lose fur. Rabbits, much like horses, can't regurgitate. They can't burp. None of that. So feeding only healthy, dry, non-molding hay is paramount. That's why I tell my mentees to source horse hay specifically, hay that has been properly cut, dried, and stored to those horse standards. I had someone purchase a couple rabbits from me a couple years ago, and they were not aware that rabbits can't burp, that they can't regurgitate, they can't do anything like that. They were unaware of it, and they got a deal on some goat quality hay, and unfortunately their rabbits succumbed to bloat. So it's incredibly important to make sure that the quality of hay that you're feeding, even if it is a roughage hay and not a super rich orchard grass or timothy hay, is healthy hay. So I'm going to show you what a tube-like blade of grass is and what a flat leaf or flat blade of grass is. So when I talk about tube-like hay, this is what I'm talking about. It's a little bit, it looks kind of like a stick. It's a little bit, rougher to break, and it is a little bit tube-shaped. This is the hay that is going to be specifically giving your rabbits fiber. This is what drives the hindgut, is breaking this tougher type roughage down. And this is a flat blade of hay. Now this is, in my experience, going to give them a little bit more protein because it's less hard to digest. It breaks down really easily in their hindgut, and it's not that hard to chew. So you want a balanced mix of these two types of blades. So see, there is a little bit of tube-like tougher blades, and there's a little bit of the flat blades. Sourcing hay can be a little bit difficult in some parts of the United States. I find that the majority of what we have available here is cow quality or second crop. So it's kind of hard to find that sort of mix, but I go through a local farm and that seems to be the best for me. I can tell them what I need and they can source it. And if they can't source it, then they know who can. They know who grows it. They know who, they have other connections. So ask a farmer. And even if you buy directly from the farmer, most of the time they're fine with you just picking up 1 or 2 bales of hay when you need them. And specifically, if we're talking about Angoras, it's even more so required. I did mention it in my copper grooming video a couple times, but Angoras groom a lot and they don't have this much hair. They have, each staple length of their hair is about this long. So every time that they go to groom themselves, they're usually ingesting that. Now that roughage, that hay that's going through their hindgut is actually going to push all that stuff out. So if you are interested in Angoras and you're interested in learning about them or getting into them, they always need hay. Always, always, always. Because wool block is not a comfortable thing. It's harder to get rid of than bloat. There's no medication for it. They have to pass it. And the chances of them getting wool block is hugely decreased when you give them hay every single day. Specifically talking about complete feeds. It was advertised as a complete feed. And at this point, I was only a couple years into my rabbit journey. So I went ahead and I stopped feeding hay. I weaned everybody off like you're supposed to. I was like, you know what? It says complete feed. And, I could save a little bit of money on hay. So I did that. It ended up not having nearly enough fiber content in it for any of the hindgut to work. So I had a herd of about 5 at the time, and they all fell down with bloat. First, I thought it was just a thing that had developed in my herd, and I was like, oh, I need to call all that. So I called all of the kits, and I called 3 of the does, and I brought in another buck, and I did all this work, and I continued to feed the feed, and I continued to have the same issue. I have moved away from that brand and onto a different brand, but I also decided that hay was required. After that lesson, I will link all of the meat rabbit studies that I used for this video, as well as when I first started. I'll link them down in the description below so you guys can access them and you can read them yourselves. If any one of you guys have had a different experience or the same experience, comment down below. For everybody who is just starting out, it's good to see all of the opinions, see all of the differences in animal husbandry. So go ahead and comment your experiences down below. So with that, I hope this was an informational video for you guys. I hope it was a quick one. I know that sometimes when you need an answer to something, the quickest video is the best video. Have a great morning, evening, day, wherever you may be, and I will see you guys in the next one.